So I guess just to get started, could you just give me a little bit of background on your career in real estate, just briefly, so we can start up?
Um, I started my career after I retired from AT&T. I was with the telecommunication business for over 30 years. And as you know, AT&T is a unionized company. So I was on the union and I was on the board and I was what we call a job steward. So I negotiated for employees, jobs, records, everything like that. So I negotiated that. When I retired, it was in the midst of the downturn in the market. So short sales were needed. And so I jumped in to short sales, and my negotiating skills with the union and negotiating for people's rights and jobs and stuff just fit right into short sale negotiation. So I did close hundreds of short sales in South Carolina and saved lots of people from foreclosure. And in the midst of all that, I noticed that I had divorced people in there.
Mhm.
And their situation was the same at the point that they reached out to me, but it could have been different if they had approached their divorce a little bit different. And then I also noticed that even though they got divorced, attorneys wasn't protecting their credit. It wasn't that the attorneys wasn't protecting them, it was just that all the information wasn't fully disclosed to them on what they need to do with that house. You know, they get so tired and they get so caught up into the divorce that when the attorney says, okay, he wants the house, they say, well, I don't care, sign the house over to them, not realizing that they're still tied to that person and that house financially because the mortgage is in their name.
Mhm.
So that's when I started going into the divorce because I wanted to approach those people different than I approached the short sale people.
Okay, so um, how was that? I mean, how was it getting started in that? How did you find? One of the biggest questions we get a lot is how do you even find those listings?
Well, you partner with divorce attorneys. So my clients are really the divorce attorneys because they go to them first and they ask, you know, what do I need to do with this house? And, you know, a lot of times they fighting over what real estate agent to use. And so the divorce attorney can help them assign a real estate attorney. Divorce financial special analyst. Some people go to them first before they hit the attorney, especially if it's an amicable divorce and they can try to save their credit. They go to a financial analyst. So I partnered with those as well. I'm also head of the divorce niche. I write divorce magazine pieces. So I just put myself out there as somebody to contact before you get a divorce.
Right.
So
So these partnerships that you have created with attorneys, how did you form that partnership? What did you do um, to build that bond with them?
I reached out to him and told him that I was a certified divorce real estate agent, and I know that I realized that there's a lot of um, information that they provide and give to them, and I send them articles and I send them information on how they can guide their clients during the divorce. I also leave a copy of my book at their
Right.
office.
Right.
Leave copies of them so that they can provide them to their clients as well. So it kind of helps with information that they may have about their house. So,
Right. So, I mean, you're positioning yourself as that consultant in
yes,
that.
and we also I partner with them to do divorce. So when they're doing a divorce clinic, I'm the real estate expert. So I do the real estate piece, they do the divorce piece, and even partner with the financial analyst, and she does the financial piece. So we partner together and do clinics.
How often do you do those?
We try to do those at least once every 6 months.
Okay. How have those been for you?
They've been pretty good. Attendance has been a little bit down, but now it's a little bit hard because of the COVID-19. But hopefully, we'll be able to get back in it. And I think we're going to start trying to do it on a Zoom call so that we don't all have to be sitting beside each other.
Right. When you do that, what kind of reaction do you get? I mean, you know, selling the house, it's one of those things. It's going to come up, so they need to have somebody there with
Yeah,
them.
every reaction is different. It just depends on what stage of the divorce process that they're going to. You know, the first stage of the divorce process is they're really mad. One may have wanted it, the other didn't know it, you know, and you don't know what the situation is for the divorce. So a lot of them are really mad. Then there's hurt, then there's grievance. So we go through all of these processes, and it depends on what stage that person is when they come into the clinic. And if they come alone, the other person may not be where they're at.
Mhm.
And so, and if I have to deal with that person, then you have to be able to separate yourself. You may meet one person and it's okay, and y'all build a relationship, but it's really not about your relationship that you built with them. You represent both of them, so you cannot take sides. And so it's really hard being a real estate agent because it's all about building relationships as a real estate agent. But in a divorce situation, the relationships are different. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was talking to an agent Monday, and he said there you have to be so careful, with your conversations because
your emails, your texts, everything, because they can pursue you as representing the other person and leaving their interests at, and so you have to be really careful of how you communicate with them and everything like that. All of that is it's an art. So you have to be able to maneuver it, because I really don't have any interest in making sure that one person gets more than the other. That's really not my thing. That's the courts thing, the attorney's thing, their financial thing. My thing is to sell a house and get them the most amount of money so that they can walk away from it. And so They got to realize that's my only objection. So
Right. So how long have you been really focusing on the divorce niche then?
I've been focusing on divorce cases for the last year and a half or so.
Okay.
And I've been doing short sales, for the last 10 years. So
Right.
It's all, I guess I've been in the divorce, the same thing, because my divorce clients was in the short sale, but to separate them has been about a year and a half. I wanted to make sure that I focused on them a different way than I focused on the short sales.
Right. So you work with attorneys. Do you also go directly to, do you ever work directly to the divorce sellers, or is it a lot of times you're getting the leads from the attorneys? How does that work?
Sometimes I go directly to, sometimes they call me.
Mm-hmm.
Based on my magazine articles and my Facebook page and things like that. They'll call and say, I'm getting a divorce and I need to sell my house, and they'll ask me about it. Then I can refer them to the attorney or the financial person that they need to talk to,
Mm-hmm.
and I go from there. Sometimes one will call and say, I want you to sell a house, and the other one says, I don't want you to sell a house. I want somebody else to sell a house. And then I have to refer them back to the attorney and tell them, look, you need to talk to your attorney and tell them that you want to do that, because sometimes it's easier when stuff's on paper. Then you know who's responsible for what. It takes some of the emotional turmoil out of it because now it's written down on a piece of paper. So some of those I have to refer back.
Right. And with the one of the things I was also talking, you're not just dealing with the homeowners, but it's also the attorneys. So that relationship you're building with those attorneys is very important.
And I have to remember also, I can't give them legal advice.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's why it's nice for me to have the attorney in my corner, because I can give legal advice to that. So it just makes it a little bit easier, because a lot of times there's a thin line about what I'm telling them, what's legal, real estate, and what I cannot say. So it works out pretty good.
What advice would you give to agents that are thinking about jumping into that?
Well, I took Laura Stark's course in divorce real estate, and it mainly pinpointed everything that I said. Like, short sales are very close to it. But if you're going to start into the divorce sector and you want to target divorced people, you got to partner with attorneys. You got to partner with other divorce specialists. And because it helps you on knowledge base, and also it'll help you be able to refer these clients to where they need to go. You also need to know that real estate for a divorced couple and selling it is a lot different than just selling regular real estate. You can't attack it the same way. So the more you educate yourself on how to handle those clients, the better that you will be with them. So just do all your homework, partner with the right people. I mean, and get the book. The book is great because it's an icebreaker and it's a learning tool for you too. So you can read it yourself and figure out what needs to be done when you're dealing with divorce. So it's really good.
What, um, with the attorneys that you've given this book to, how has that helped with the attorneys also? Are they giving you advice
It's
for
like
that?
I lifted off their shoulder. I mean, it's bad enough that they're dealing with the divorce and they got so many things that they got to help separate. Like there's children involved and all kinds of things come up in a divorce. That house is just a noose around their neck sometimes, and being able to say, okay, well, you deal with the house, then I can deal with the rest of the stuff. It helps make the divorce a lot easier. So, I mean, because they do what their clients say, and if the client says, just give them the house, part's not included. So me being able to explain that to them and tell them, if you can't afford a house, we need to make sure he can too. If he can't afford it, then y'all need to sell it. And y'all need to sell it before one person is in it, and then the value goes down. You need to sell it while you're getting the most amount for your money. So being able to show them what they need to do with the house and how much it's actually worth takes a weight off the attorney's shoulders.
Right. What has been the reaction from I mean, when you go to work with these clients and you have your book and things like that, once you've met with them and you've talked with them, what kind of reaction have they given that you have the book?
I got a text from one of my clients, and she texted me and said, wow, I got my book. I got my book. So the reaction is pretty good.